As author/poker player, Maria Konnikova wrote for Scientific American, "From those 4 words, you are ready to succumb to the world of the story. Once upon a time." It creates a semblance of distance, deliberately vague, an indeterminate moment in a non-specific kingdom, land, or place you could probably never visit. And distance for an audience is a psychologically powerful tool, she writes. It frees your brain up to the idea of metaphor, and emotional experience is safe from the threat of immediacy. The world of Once Upon a Time is not reality. It's a creation of make-believe. It's an invitation for fantasy and imagination to take the stuff of real life and do with it what they will. In the realm of the imaginary, anxiety doesn't become less anxious, nor tragedy less tragic. But in that world, you can make sense of it all from a distance. It can't touch you in quite the same way, and yet it can lead you to a much deeper understanding of realities that would be too impenetrable without those 4 magic words at the foreword. Once upon a time, it's Horses on Film. Howdy, y'all, and welcome to episode 8 of Horses on Film. I'm your host, Cameron Chapman, and here we are in the Old West. This is the podcast dedicated to determining the top 100 Westerns of all time. We're using as our guide the IndieWire list published in 2024. From there, we'll be adding, subtracting, reorganizing. We'll hopefully get a different list, one that we can be pretty proud of. And to help me out, I need my co-hosts. I need Dave. I need Scott. And we're going to get into it. Here we go. Hello. Welcome.
Howdy, partners. Let's do this.
This is episode 8. We're into the new year here. We're now going to be 8% of the way through this list. I like thinking of things in percentages, but this is a spaghetti Western. This is our first Italian film, our first I guess we had an Australian film already, but first one of a kind of another wave of Westerns in these spaghetti Westerns.
And what a wave, oh my, I don't know if I said it on while recording or afterwards when we chat, but like I was always joking whether the film was bigger than the music score, and I finally got my answer here, so I'm looking forward to diving into that.
Pretty sure you said that on the air.
Probably. I don't remember what I said yesterday, let alone today. So
yeah.
Oh, that's a truth. I have no clue.
Me too.
I was just trying to remember last episode. And last episode, I think, was one of our best episodes so far. There Will Be Blood. It ranks pretty low, thanks to me and Dave. It's in
not low enough that way. You're supposed to put some stank on that. Thanks, Cam and Dave.
Sorry, but it's sitting 6 out of 7. It had a rating of 13.5 out of 20, which is actually a pretty good rating. I think it'll likely hang in there a little higher than that 6 out of 7 shows. It had an average rating of 3.375. So yeah, that's maybe a little controversial, but
I just picture like a note being sent like by an arrow or like something being like, watch your backs, PTA.
Yeah. So he's coming for us. Well, I don't think he's too concerned about getting on a list like this. I don't think he set out to make a Western. I think he set out to make a great film, which he did.
Oh, fantastic.
But I don't think it was like a like in this case where Leone is okay, if I'm going to make a big budget Western, I'm going to make this. How about spaghetti Westerns? Have you guys watched any other notable spaghetti Westerns? Is it a genre you're familiar with at all?
I feel like it's something that I've watched and not paid attention to. Right? Like because there's so many of them, and there's so many that are mediocre.
Absolutely.
That I think it's just like background noise, kind of have watched. Not, oh yeah, I've watched these great spaghetti Westerns.
Right. Yeah. Or you've seen movies that were heavily inspired by these spaghetti Westerns.
I was going to say, I feel like I've never watched one before. The more I think about it, but it's like Star Wars, where yeah, here we go. Someone like take a shot. I mentioned Star Wars, where like there's so many homages in all the culture that like I've seen this scene, but it was done by like like Homer, Ned Flanders, and someone else, or I've seen this scene and it was a Rick and Morty gag, or I've seen this scene and it's I've seen and being like, oh, and again, the music is, well, I can't even begin. It's so good, but
yeah. And I would even go so far to say that this movie we're talking about today, Once Upon a Time in the West, is kind of the Star Wars of Westerns in the sense that it was a love letter to all his favorite movies growing up, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of all these things, but kind of set in a new way that is very influential on everything that came after.
This could be, I keep talking about a line in the sand. I would say this is one of those where when it comes to the because it's around the same time as like the Tall Tea and
it's a little after that. It's I mean it's close to
The Professionals.
The Professionals, yeah. And in that episode we mentioned Planet of the Apes, and it's the same year as Planet of the Apes, so you can maybe even see a little bit of crossover there in cinematography style, things like that. Something, obviously the Man with No Name trilogy, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, all that came before this. And then there's like The Big Gun Down, Bullet for the General. If I'm thinking of Italian cinema, the first movie that comes to mind for me is 8½. And Claudia Cardinale is also in that. So there's a lot of a lot of Italian cinema is like baked into this, but it's also kind of in a way Spanish too, because even though it's an Italian Western, a spaghetti Western, they often shoot in the deserts of Spain, and this look. And I'm thinking of even a movie that came out the last couple of years, Wes Anderson, Atomic. Why am I blanking on
City or something like that? Or the one with like all his guys plus Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
It's like my favorite movie of the year.
But
anyway, that was shot in the same Spanish desert, so it's kind of that. If you want that look, if you want that heat, Asteroid City, yeah, that's right.
There we go.
But that like hot desert look, you got to kind of go to Spain for these guys. So
I think we just lost a point on our film cred, though.
Oh, I know. It literally was I saw it 5 times in the theater, but I had Atomic in my head. But I really do love it. I don't know that it. I mean, obviously, I'm not bringing it into this conversation. I don't think it qualifies as a Western, despite there's a little bit of country Western music in there. I think it's more of a surreal sci-fi theatrical presentation, but I really do.
I love the idea if everyone brings like 10 films and we just sit down and be like, is this a Western? And we do 5 minutes per film. Like, is TMNT really a Western?
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Our what is a Western definition gets brought up every episode, I feel, much. And it's just
and tested in the last one.
It's so hard. It's so hard to wrangle. But for like, what is a spaghetti Western?
is a conversation too. And so a lot of times it's, this Italian language, Spanish set or Italian set. They shoot a lot in Cinecittà studios in Rome. I think that there's a realism, there's a grit, there's a sweat, there's breakdown on the costumes, there's breakdown on the towns. The towns aren't all crisp and clean. Look at the railway station at the beginning of this with just like the loose.
Well, you can see through everything. That was the thing I liked about that scene, is like, it's really well done with the people coming in, and then like just how it's shot and framed. I actually was quite impressed with.
Oh, and all the kind of scrappy pieces of wood.
You can feel the dirt on your skin and the heat of the sun. It was really well done.
Yeah, really gritty, and and then like harsh lighting, a lot of harsh sunlight lighting, and that kind of stylized cinematography, a lot of close-ups, a lot of power zooms, things that maybe a classic Western didn't really do. But then you started to see American Westerns doing it after, as kind of either a homage or just a new style of how to shoot Westerns,
And again, like, I love the line in the sand of how this movie is. We talk about Star Wars, about how this influenced so much moving on. So like in my head, I have this and then Unforgiven until we find something in between. This is the line in the sand for the 60s and 70s and 80s moving forward, right? So
absolutely. And then this is where in the overall, where you start to, you see it a little bit in American movies, but you get a little bit more moral ambiguity. And at the beginning of Unforgiven, one of the people he dedicated it to was Sergio Leone.
I think you have to.
Yeah, and that idea that maybe the hero has a darker side or has a darker greedy ambition or motive, or and then on top of that, a big thing, the music, Ennio Morricone, obviously, but everyone else that provided music to these. It's a lot of horns, it's a lot of wild sounds, ambient noise that plays as music, like a lot of really like experimental, interesting, offbeat rhythmic music as opposed to classical orchestral score.
I definitely want to come back to the music when we get into our feature presentation for sure.
No, it's
absolutely, yeah.
I honestly think there's a lot to say on the music, maybe even more so than the film itself, honestly.
Absolutely. And then I guess maybe the last characteristic, although we saw it with the Bud Bedecker films and the Monty Hellmans too, is often they're working with a lower budget. Which is one of the reasons why they're not always recording sound on set. There's not a lot of on location sound in these movies, so it's a lot of dubbing, and they come across of a lower quality of film from a budget standpoint in many cases. Not a bad thing. It's just it really plays to the style. And if you're flipping channels and you see something with the sound where it's clearly a dubbed thing, whether it's an action movie or a kung fu movie or a Western, it really does kind of, it's a red flag. It's a signal that you're working with smaller budgets. Now, what makes this movie different is that this was Sergio Leone working with a budget. And so I think this is what we're about to get into in the feature presentation here, is what does the spaghetti Western look like with a little bit of scratch behind it, and a
few dollars more than normal.
Yeah, people going a little bit harder.
Like that?
Yeah.
Not just dollars. And my one for the day. See you guys.
All right. All right. So you guys want to get into the feature presentation and get going here?
Yeah, let's do the thing.
Let's do it. I pitch a tone low while saying that. That's bad.
Put that up. We'll start some mood music. There were 3 men in her life, one to take her, one to love her, and one to kill her. As the railroad builders advance unstoppingly through the Arizona desert on their way to the sea, Jill arrives in the small town of Flagstone with the intention of starting a new life.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, directed by Sergio Leone, screenplay by Sergio Donati and Sergio Leone. Again, I apologize on all my pronunciations.
Send your complaint to Cameron at Horses on Film.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I'm very I can barely speak English. Based on a story by Dario Argento and Bernardo Bertolucci, both kind of legends in their own right. Loosely adapted from parts and pieces of many of Leone's favorite classic films, something that he calls cinema, which is essentially, a movie in a movie. We see it all the time now. Obviously, Star Wars is a big one. The Simpsons, almost every episode of The Simpsons is a movie in a movie. And Quentin Tarantino, everybody kind of has that built into them now with these reference after reference. Stars Claudia Cardinale, Henry Fonda, cast against type as a bad guy. Jason Robards, Charles Bronson, who's incredible. Filmed at Cinecittà Studios in Rome, the deserts of Spain, as well as Monument Valley in Utah. Music by Ennio Morricone. It was written and recorded prior to principal photography, which is kind of a backwards way of doing it. So the music existed on set. They were able to play the music, time the shots to it, time the camera moves, time the dialogue and the action to the music. Not normally the way you would do it, but maybe the way you would do it if you have money to do it.
Score that good?
And a score that good, absolutely. Yeah. No real awards to speak of, but scores of accolades and honors in the years since. It kind of had a stunted release in the US. They cut out a lot of it. It didn't really make a big splash in the US, but in Europe, they saw the European cut and it was a big deal. It took a while to kind of build momentum, and now it's on almost every top 100 list of all time. Time Magazine, Total Film, Empire, The Guardian, Sight and Sound. I mean, the list goes on and on. Almost every sorry.
I disagree with the Guardian one. Only it's on the list. It's not. I'm not saying it's not on the list.
Oh, okay.
But it's specifically on their best action and war films of all time list.
Interesting.
It's number 3 on that, and that makes no sense whatsoever.
And Dave gave this film 1 out of 5.
It's certainly not a war movie.
No,
and I don't really see it as an action.
No.
There Will Be Blood is more of a Western than this is a war film.
I'll even agree with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But it is very influential. Directors such as Clint Eastwood, Martin Scorsese, George Lucas, Quentin Tarantino, even Vince Gilligan, who made Breaking Bad. They cite it all the time as influential to their work. It's been influential to me. And who else has been influential to me? Our guest today. Writer, author, film enthusiast, Steve. Welcome, Mr. Irwin. Oh, you're on mute. We can unmute him.
He's got to mute himself.
There he is.
The worst part is that you told me that you'll be on mute, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like the Key and Peele sketch where I'm like, did he press that button? Did he press that button? So yeah, no apologies for being on mute. I was dying to join in the discussion, like at all points when you guys were talking previously.
We're doing the slides, so you're good.
You saved me in the chat with Asteroid City too. I don't know how I forgot Asteroid City.
And you want to know something else? I haven't seen it. I'm only 20 minutes into the Phoenician Scheme. Like not to digress too much, but I've kind of come off the boil with Wes Anderson a little bit.
Well, I would suggest that one because it's just weird enough for you. But I think it's better than Phoenician Scheme.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in fairness, I watched Phoenician Scheme on a plane. So
Moonrise Kingdom was my last. So
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I was like 6 for 6 or 8 for 8 at one point with Wes Anderson. But hearing you guys talk about this movie, there are just so many places I want to either die
Get
passionately,
in there.
giggle like uncontrollably, or start to get angry with some scenes. Like this movie that caused me like genuine visceral reactions. It sounds like you guys have all seen it before, right?
I don't know if that's true. Had you ever seen it before, Steve?
I had not, so I was
Oh,
coming
wow.
at it with like a complete and a part of me, because of the big gaps in Leone's schedule or his films, I kind of thought he hadn't made this movie, and then it went Duck You Sucker, and then nothing till Once Upon a Time in America.
America, yeah.
But I was shocked even to read today that it was part of a trilogy based upon his Once Upon a Time, and I got to tell you, having never seen it. It took me about 25 minutes to have my first thought. And that thought was, this is wholly unwatchable having taken psychedelics. This movie has such sinister over and undertones. And like the opening 30 minutes is got to be one of the most jarring things I've ever seen. Like you have the opening at the train station with like this cornucopia of terribly annoying but persistent sounds.
That weird like
All of it was there.
Sound from the
Rust, and you had like the windmill kind of turning, and then you had a fly, and then a fly in a bottle, and then a fly in a gun, and then you had the timer. It just went all, and you guys spoke to it earlier, like the grittiness of watching this, like that immediately set the tone for me as like, this is going to be a sand in your fucking britches ride here. Like this is going to be rough. Like get into it or like be afraid, but you're certainly going to feel something.
Now, I think, I could do this episode in 2 parts, and I could do one whole episode just about that opening sequence.
Hey, crazy.
And the fact that, I mean, they did write theme music for it that was present on the day. They decided against it, and they just went with these like amplified ambient sounds that
a lot of diegetic. It was
they come in and out like kind of in otherworldly ways. You hear them when they're on camera, but sometimes you hear them when they're not on camera, and like it's really a piece of art in and of itself. I love when the train arrives and it's just breathing like a beast, like a great animal. I just don't know if there's, and I think you see it in other movies when the train pulls into town. Now they do that same thing. Back to the Future 3 even does it with the train breathing. How about Dave Scott? Had you seen it before?
I thought I had, like, I was sure I had. And then when I sat down and watched it for this episode, I don't think I have. I think I just know it exists because I think it's one of those things that Once Upon a Time in the West, it's a name that everybody kind of knows, whether you've seen it or not. And I think I just thought I had seen it, but no, I'm fairly certain I'd not seen it before now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you said too, Scott, right? Like it's that you've seen the references.
And like oddly, more and more I feel like an audience POV character where it's just like, cool, this is my first time at this, come along journey with me and be like, but like it takes a lot for a director to really understand the use of sound. Like not even, we'll talk about the score. We've already talked about it like 14 times. It is. But like you said, like the fly, watching him try to blow the fly off his lip, and I'm like, how did they get it to do that? Like I'm like locked in on the weirdest things.
Who's directing that fly? Who's his agent? Can we get that fly?
Can we get that?
They did have a fly wrangler
through it, and then they just let the fly do its thing and like catching the sound.
Yeah, they had a fly wrangler, and they put marmalade, and they tried lots of things. They tried honey, they tried marmalade.
Is that true?
They tried
so it was really directed. I had assumed it was just like kismet, like they happened to film that.
In the script.
We're talking about a fly in the beginning of this film. That's how this I'm
watermelon. They used like watermelon juice because you couldn't see it, and
you can
the
sound.
they were like releasing one fly at a time, and it works. It's totally brilliant.
I mean, like I feel like it gives credence to my like possibly like the era that this is filmed in is 68. Like you have all of the artists taking LSD, you have like people making movies on purpose trying to make the LSD freaks like lose their minds. And I'm more and more convinced, like hearing like how long did that take? Do you know what I mean? Like how long did you have everybody standing in the sun trying to get a fly to stay where you wanted it to? For like Sergio Leone is a madman. But I like what you said about the train arriving, because to me that weird sound collage, that annoying sound collage culminates with the train arriving and the whistle happening, and then it kind of, that breathing kind of like goes, and it's sort of the first time you take a breath as the watcher too. It's like, it's sort of like, okay, what was that about? Like we're getting to know what's going to happen. Here's a train.
The other side of the scene is they haven't told you what is going on at all.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And that's
the only
edge of your seat tension for like the first 15, 20 minutes of this film of what is going on.
We've seen it now a few times with There Will Be Blood and Rio Bravo, and these long sequences of silence to start a thing. I almost wish the station agent hadn't said any lines.
Right. $7.50 for the tickets.
Yeah, like they almost could have.
Except I loved him. He looks like a lovable old Italian sword. Well, like
he's amazing.
Looking puppety face guy. Like I really enjoyed him. He was great.
And you can see on his face, he doesn't know what's going on. Like like they're intimidating. They're coming in. Like it's not like, again, like, and he says 7, and then he like takes the tickets, throws it, and goes 50. Like 750.
I'm sure it'll be okay. When
am I going to make it out of this? Like,
and the train is 2 hours late, so they, they're there for a while. They're waiting and waiting, and it is that. I mean, obviously, the references are just coming fast and furious immediately. Yeah. You've got High Noon with the 3 guys waiting for the train. You've got the Iron Horse, that shot of it coming in. There's Woody Strode is in there as kind of a representative of these big John Ford movies. The woman who runs away from the train station is his wife, Woody Strode's wife, and like it's just kind of, again, you just kind of get the warm fuzzies thinking about what fun Sergio must have been having on set.
And like you got the train, we talked about the train sound and this breathing, and then it leaves and you get the harmonica. And you realize the harmonica is not a sound.
It's one of the funniest fucking scenes I ever seen in my entire life. Because you're like, you mentioned the score, and I'm sure we'll speak extensively on it. But like you're so in tune with the score, and it just feels like it's the score, and the train moves away, and you see what you think is going to be, your help in understanding what this movie is going to be about or what the scene is about. We don't actually get that payoff till Cheyenne later mentions that the dusters were stolen and everything. Yeah. We don't actually know what any of that was about for like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. But like to see him actually going, oh no shit, he's like playing the harmonica.
He's really his
character plays the harmonica
at that moment. Device. At that moment when you see Jack Elam, who was cast because his eyes, like he's got these perfect eyes, he kind of gives this look, and you're like, oh, they can hear the harmonica.
This is happening.
That drove me nuts. That was the one thing. I love the score. We've said it. Well, it's a legendary score. Yeah. But yeah, the harmonica was mixed as part of the score. I wasn't even sure he was playing the harmonica.
It took me way out of the movie, Dave. Like it was jarring in a way that, like, all that tension that built up, I laughed out loud.
And I think you're allowed to playing it. You're allowed to laugh at that. I think it is a legitimately deliberately funny moment.
It's on purpose to know like it's nervous laughter for me. It's like, oh, ha, like it's not like, oh, I'm still unsure what's going on. And then you brought too many horses, and okay, we know what we're doing here. That's our first semblance of any direction.
One horse shy and too many, and my thought was, holy shit! Immediately, the horse math in this movie is difficult. Like immediately, they're asking you to do horse math. That is,
I had an abacus going.
Wait! How many horses am I going to say this movie?
Well, it's such a great line because all three guys know exactly what he means.
Everybody's talking on that same level, and then to go from there immediately into watching, who you find to be Henry Fonda, which again is against type and not at all what I was expecting. Blatantly murder a 9-year-old boy after killing an entire family. At that point, I was like, all right.
Well, and that shot at the
kind of frightened.
Yeah, at the end of the train sequence, the shot where he gets up and you can see that he's been hit in the arm and he's alive, that was cut out of the US release. So
he just shows up again later.
He just shows up again, and then so the US audience was obviously very confused of like, wait, is this a flashback? Is he alive? Like, oh, did he survive that? It's these little shots, these little hints of like, oh, okay, yeah, he's alive. He made it. You kind of get that sense of this is an indestructible cowboy. I love it. And then, you get right into the kids, bang, 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 and like chasing pheasants. And then Henry Fonda. Now, as far as cast against type, this is what I know Henry Fonda from. Because I watched this as a kid so many times. That didn't work for me, because I've always known him as the bad guy from this. When I see him in things like Warlock or is the Grapes of Wrath and stuff now, it's like, okay, that's against type for me. But obviously it was a big deal. It was one of the main reasons. Leone, after doing the 3 Man with No Name, said he wasn't going to do another Western. And then they offered him this and they said, you can do it with your favorite actor of all time. And it was like, okay, I'm doing it. So I'm glad he did, because
on that note, imagine having a director of this caliber being like, you're my favorite actor. Like, I couldn't even begin like the accolades. Like that. I wouldn't leave my trailer for days.
Went to his house to talk him into it, right? Like Henry Fonda didn't want to do it, and Leone traveled to him to try and talk him into it.
And well, who would it be now? Like if you were like casting this horrible killer against type now,
maybe one of the Chris's from Marvel, like Chris Pine,
Chris Evans, maybe
Evans or Chris Pine, like somebody. It would have to be somebody as a hero, or like
Hemsworth from
Hugh Grant,
Furiosa Hemsworth.
Oh yeah,
that's where I would go with this, because he when you picture him, and then he's got some prosthetics going on, but I feel like this is almost like a Heath Ledger Batman kind of thing, or like
it's a real turn for him. Like he really does play evil well, Henry Fonda. I know him from On Golden Pond, and I'm not sure I actually know that movie. I think it was just on Super Channel a lot when I was a kid.
Sure.
So I'm not entirely sure I've seen it, though I've probably seen bits and pieces of it. Like
for the audience at home, Super Channel was a channel you could tune into.
Whatever movie was on,
had it, or if somehow it was unscrambled, on the free weekends, and then you'd watch like old Henry Fonda presumably be on a porch, I think, for large portions of that movie. I'm not entirely sure.
I assume they're rowing a boat in a lake.
There's a boat. There's probably a boat.
I just feel like
there is actually
a real boat rowing movie.
A boat.
Am I right? I don't know.
Dock then they're sitting on.
No boat.
No, I don't think there's a boat, if I remember right.
What pond are they on?
It's I think Cam, and I don't want to show you up on your own podcast, but I think they're on the Golden Pond. I think it's a golden pond.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I'm not sure.
This is the biggest controversy we've had since the Tall T. So
yeah, is that only Jason and the Argonauts can sail on a golden pond, or I'm not sure.
That's a cut. I like that. Okay, Jason and the Argonauts, by the way, is this old movie for our audience. No.
I think Scott assumes all our audiences between the ages of 7 and 9 or something.
Hold on.
Sure, anybody under 50, 40, 30 has never seen this movie unless you're specifically into movies.
Well, that's my point of view on this again. Yeah. So I'm, for the audience at home, if it hasn't come up, I'm 42. And usually I tend to be the youngest one on this podcast.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I said, yeah, let's do this. But my introduction to this movie was through pop culture. And it continually, and it's one of those ones like I once dated a lady who had never seen Star Wars. And I realized, and in my head, I was like, how do you, like 9 times a day, if you watch anything, Star Wars gets referenced.
Right.
No, this podcast, I reference it every 5 minutes. I had to do it again.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down actually.
Yeah,
It was at the 553 mark. Star Wars was first.
Yeah.
And but like I was like,
at the
how do you not? But then I realized you've seen Star Wars. You know the beats because of all this. And that was the same with this. Like it's the thing about this film that stands out, and I am about to move the conversation here because I feel like this is going to be a large part, is that soundtrack.
Yeah, let's get into the soundtrack.
So good. And you've heard it. You've heard bits of it. And you've heard the famous bits of it. But there was not, minus the harmonica stuff, which we later realized, I was constantly, the main star of this film is that soundtrack. And like that, you could, it'd be like, I would love to watch this film again without it. It'd be like, again, watching Star Wars without John Williams. I don't think it would be the same film at all. All, not even close. And that.
Oh yeah, if he's playing the kazoo, maybe like Dave does, it would be worth it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The soundtrack is the glue for this entire film. That said, I think obviously the imagery is beautiful. I mean, the performances are great, but what has always hooked me on this one, as opposed to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, is I really feel like the storyline was complicated enough that the way it slowly reveals itself, there's something kind of special about the storyline, and that the idea that the days of these cowboys is ending and civilization is coming. And our gentleman who's killed at the beginning, is it McBain?
Fred McBain.
Yeah, he was a visionary. He was absolutely a visionary. He saw
it down.
He saw that this train was going to keep going past Flagstaff, and he had water, and he knew geographically, I'm all in. He spent every last dime he had on lumber and on this idea that he was going to make a station, and he had to have it done before the train got there. And I mean, after I did 5 seasons of A Hell on Wheels, and that idea of the train coming and getting that train done, and everything that happens after the train links the West, it's such a big deal. And a lot of these Westerns are tied to that idea, but I don't think any better than this one.
And those beautiful Pullman cars that our railroad baron was in too. Those stylish old railway cars that the Pullman people were making before, they were a part of terrible strikes. But they're beautiful train cars. And
love his ribbon, that ribbon he had for stopping. It was so beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
And there's so much to say. Like to your point, Scott, with the music. Like I think it also works as dialogue for large portions of the movie. Like there isn't a lot of written word in this movie.
It's the narrator of this film.
It
really is.
Certainly controlling the emotional tone of the movie almost the entire time.
When you talk about music set in the mood, this is not only set in the mood, it's inviting you in, and then sometimes pulling the rug out from under you to be like, this isn't what you thought it was. And I love that.
The best. I mean, truthfully, the best use of that. Like, what are we watching? Like, what am I watching? Oh, the music is part of it, and it's the music is the movie in the movie.
I would love to see, because they released the black and white chrome version of Fury Road. I would love to just watch one of these almost without any dialogue and just that score plus the harmonica, but just that score, and just I think the movie would work.
I think you could piece together a story for sure. But then to Cameron's point, that the story unfolds in such a way that I was like truthfully, maybe an hour and 45 minutes into this movie before I had it all put together and went wait, okay, so he's this faction and that faction, and there's 3 factions now, really. And then it took me a long time to understand the story. And my question of that, just a very simple one, is who do you think she loved? Truthfully,
I mean, I have a theory, Dave.
I was saying I don't know the answer to that question either. The whole intro, the 3 men, one to take her, one to love her, one to kill her. Which one killed her? She doesn't die. Spoiler: she doesn't die.
Well, I think harmonica killed her by leaving. But the truth is, I think
that's what I was
one
gonna
she
say.
loves is
so that makes
McBain.
Frank like
I think McBain. I think she really did love him, and
I think she loved
she really
McBain,
did
for sure.
want to start a life. And it took a while. I mean, she got to the point where she was literally selling the ranch and just saying, okay, well, this didn't work. I'm out of here. And then harmonica kind of shows her like, no, there's a purpose here. And that scene where he's pacing out the station platform and they're pounding in steaks, he sees the vision, he understands, and I think she's just upset that the money's gone. If the money's gone, then what is there here? But he sees the vision of, this, you don't sell this. You don't, like, the guy says, that's worth thousands of thousands. They go then millions, and it's like, well, yeah, but you don't sell this kind of thing. So it makes money forever and ever.
I wanted her character to be closer to the Madame from Unforgiven, where she sees the bigger picture of what's going on here,
and it's really more clear. Yeah.
And like, maybe it's again time period, like 68 versus 92, where I wanted more out of her. Not because of her acting or whatever, but brains more. Like, almost like I'm the mastermind, and you gotta let the boys play while I get this figured out. And then it just never quite got there. You talked about the ribbons earlier, and the thing about the ribbons to me was it's so clean versus such a dirty. Like, every time something like that came up, the tablecloths at the family ranch,
very domestic.
Like it's
the crucifixion scene when she's done with her travels and she knows McBain's dead, and she just lays on the bed with that, shows her like in a much more sacrificial light than any sort of powerful being like the Madam from Unforgiven, for sure.
Yeah, and I think her storyline of kind of a lone woman in the middle of the prairie kind of comes from Johnny Guitar, which controversially is number one on this list, and we will get to probably last.
The guitar, not Johnny. The guitar is Johnny only.
And also the theme of the guitar and the harmonica are kind of tied together.
Similar too. Well, then let me go back. And is the question, who loved her the most?
I think Cheyenne,
I think, loved her, but loved her in a matronly way, like in a very maternal way.
He truly, deeply loved her. Kind of like weirdly as a mother, but also as a woman. And that moment where he says, "I'm the man, but not the right man for you," but he isn't either, because he's not going to stay.
Right.
I think he knew he was gut shot. He knew he was dying. And he didn't want to make her a widow again. And he just knew, as much as he loved her, it wasn't fair to her.
Well, harmonica must have loved her. Like, he walks her through everything. He saves her. He didn't really have any reason. The only thing he really needed from her is like, where's that guy that tried to kill you?
He knew that she was his path to luring in Frank.
Right. But then he does all of this really kind stuff for her as well. So, and I think Frank, as capable as he was, I think during that love scene, he mentions like, you'd make a good wife. I think what he's also saying is like, I'm probably incapable of love. But
that was her very first day of shooting on film.
That scene.
Day one, they started with the love scene. On top of that, Henry Fonda's wife was sitting next to the camera the entire time, which
she's
probably
so comfortable in that love scene. By the way,
strategy on her part. And then on top of that, that was the day. I mean, you'd never see this in a million years now, but that was the day they invited the international press. So not only is it her first day shooting with Henry Fonda, it's a love scene. It's his first love scene, and the wife is there, the press is there, and all these.
And she's so comfortable in that scene.
She's pretty great, and a lot of I think that scene, there's a lot of tension in that scene. And I think a lot of that comes from what's happening production-wise. I mean, this is the days before intimacy coordinators,
right,
in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
it's actually, I think,
wife.
cruel. It's very cruel what they did to her, but her performance is very, very strong right off the Hop. You said that you kind of wanted more out of her, but I don't know. And I thought even the dubbing, the actress, I have her name, Joyce Gordon, who did lots of voice work. I thought she did great, like as far as
Definitely.
as
I thought
voice
the character on the
performance.
page was great, and she played it great, and her performance was great. And towards the end, she kind of did eventually see that light of like, okay, well, I can do this. But it really
that
felt
last
like
shot.
she was lost lamb for most of the movie.
So what I get out of this is like we're talking about so in my head in the last one, There Will Be Blood, we talked about not having this love interest, but we just went on for 5-ish minutes about this performance of this love interest in this film.
The love interest, yeah.
And so that to me is saying that like this is there's a lot there for this character, and the actor, like the whole thing comes together, and it says a lot when you look at how powerful the other acting is, that we were having such a conversation about this storyline and plot that I don't know. I thought, honestly, I think she was fantastic. And I think
does the Oscar go to? Like who?
Yeah.
Like round table, who does the Oscar go to in this movie?
In this movie, I
Just
think
for this performance, who's best actor?
I mean, obviously Claudia's amazing, but I like Jason Robards. I like Cheyenne. Yeah,
me too. I think Jason Robards' performance is clearly the best. I mean, he doesn't look stilted. He looks very comfortable in every scene. You believe him in every scene. Henry Fonda, some of the scenes he looks a little uncomfortable. And Charles Bronson, just like as an actor, can be uncomfortable if he's.
You said uncomfortable, and we just found out his wife is watching everything he does. I was like,
that's incredible.
You're allowed to do this, but if your hands touch behind, no,
that's incredible because it's a sexy scene in the end too. Like it's a sexy scene. Like it's very, very that like that very peekaboo, like what's really going on type sexy. Like it really hits that. And that's where I say, like among the list of directors he influenced, you can also add Gerard Damiano, who directed The Devil and Miss Jones, because it looks almost identical to this, like 70s and 80s filmed pornography takes from this film, so far as I can see, both in tone and colors and style and.
And even like the spherical lenses, it was shot Technoscope with these spherical lenses. So when they get way up close, there's no distortion on these faces, and the faces are really like they're almost landscapes.
Yeah, Woody Strode's face in the opening is great.
God.
And I don't know that there's a better person that has a noun and an adjective for a name, to be honest with you. Woody Strode.
Former Calgary Stampeder, Woody Strode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that.
It's
funny. You always hear of these ex-football players that did stuff. The Rock being probably the most famous, right?
I think he was a big star. The Rock, also a former Calgary Stampeder.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bosworth was nominated 3 times, I think, in the late 80s and early 90s. He was great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is sort of a football to action hero path for sure. Woody was a huge star with UCLA, and then he played some American football, and then ended up in Calgary at one point.
But you're right, the faces and like how long they hold the shots on the faces that just make you register the emotion that the character's feeling. Make you understand confusion, or make you understand humor or softness. All like it's so brilliantly played with, like I say, minimal dialogue and excellent score, that it's like it shouldn't be, and like I don't think it is watchable to have if you took psychedelics, but it is like thoroughly watchable. But to try and explain this movie to somebody else, you'd have to just say you got to watch it.
I feel because again, moving in the 70s American cinema, you get like Taxi Driver and all these other.
All of it looks like
you like this movie most definitely, like tendrils and fingers and all these different pies. They're drinking. Hell, this movie drinks all their milkshakes. Like it's so like all you can just see it.
All of it.
And it's interesting because the version that we all watch now didn't really exist in North America until the 80s.
84,
84. This is the international version. They cut almost 20 minutes out of the American version.
And that's I would say
dialogue.
Yeah.
And there's still things that are still missing, even in this version. There's a fight scene that is cut out with the sheriff. So he does at one point come in and he's a little cut up. Charles Bronson's a little cut up and bruised, and there's no real explanation to it. But you don't really care. It's the Old West. You imagine things are happening at all times. But
yeah, because there was a longer version for the film festivals that was about 10 minutes longer.
Well, and that's what I said, like, before we recorded. I said, I thought I was watching the wrong movie because it was so like European pace, that like, so very art house for American Westerns. I was like, fuck, is this some Italian movie that I didn't, because it's even like where I watched it, the streaming service I watched it, it has the Italian title card for the movie. So I really went back and went, what am I? But
I like that you brought up art house.
Yeah,
I feel like, because we just did PTA, we've done quite a lot, and I feel like this actually could be the first one that we actually, I would say, is very much art.
It's art
It's
film,
an art,
sure.
And I think that
the proposition is kind of an art house film too. But
I love Nick Cave and his score in that, but I've never heard anyone talk about the score to that. We live this score in culture. Like this is that is like, I know
it's how you depict like a showdown between people at the office. Like somebody will hum this score, or somebody will,
like it's literally like it is the Darth Vader. It is the It is the Indiana Jones. It is these are the things. Yep, here we go. And these are the things that like that is like it is so ingrained. It's the eat my shorts. It's the
eat my shorts of Western film score. Write that down,
again,
please. Can you
phrase for early Simpsons for the younger?
That's the tagline for the episode. This movie is the eat my shorts of Western film.
Has to go into the letterbox.
Yeah, but like it's so just ingrained that I'm watching this for the first time and just being like, I know this movie. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I know this movie.
So let's get to that resolution. Like,
and Dave said, like, it was so wildly popular in Europe. It played for over a year. Like, it was in the theater forever.
380 million tickets or something. I think I read it sold in Europe.
Yeah, and like literally changed fashion because these dusters became so popular in that they actually had to put signs at the top of escalators to tell people to mind their duster. Because people were getting caught in escalators, and like it just really changed.
Well, you mentioned Spain. Like they capture Andalusia so well because it just feels like this when you're there. When you're in Monument Valley, it feels like this.
It's what you want.
That feel. It's exactly what you want.
If I go to Monument Valley, I want that score playing. I want to be thundering along in a buckboard with Claudia Cardinale. That this is the dream. This is what you want, which is, I mean, it was a love letter.
I'm wondering if this, and might have to clarify this a little bit, qualify this. Is this the Avatar of its time? But where Avatar hit and disappeared, kind of. This
and
I
changed
think
filming techniques and like
that. But you don't see that. Like when you see,
you mean like in cultural impact, where
where this hit. And I bet you talk about ticket sales and you talk about like it impacted, but I feel like this is what James Cameron wanted Avatar to truly be, where this big, we have it in our zeitgeist that this is something we keep referencing. Avatar's referenced now negatively, where this is referenced positively.
I think it's more of a Titanic.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that. Yep.
More
than Avatar.
That's good.
Yeah, or like I said, it's the Star Wars of Westerns.
Even in feel,
but I can see conservative America watching this movie. Not in 1968 for sure, and maybe not today. I feel like conservative America would turn this film off.
Every film we've watched so far, for the most part, especially of this era, is clean. For the most part, Rio Bravo, one of the things I never mentioned.
Good guy wins and clean.
It's such a clean film. Where Star Wars is such a dirty film compared to Lived In. That's what I got from this. And I feel we could, like that beginning train scene when harmonica shows up, that could be its own thing. Like you said, there's multiple, like there's this film really, and again, the score, I know I keep bringing it up, but like it's so just
because the score existed before the movie, a lot of times it existed before the casting. And we've had a few kind of happy accidents in this, like our Christmas episode ending up being a Christmas movie by total fluke and things like that. But I was building that intro thing, and I was really obviously playing on the Once Upon a Time aspect, these fairy tale aspect of it. And I had all these shots of the books opening from Disney movies. And my wife, who's a genius, just said, you know what you need is a shot of Lady and the Tramp eating the spaghetti. So I was like, oh, yeah, great. You're absolutely right. And then I said, well, of course, it's a spaghetti Western. And she hadn't really heard
spaghetti
that
Western,
term
and a romantic movie.
Right. But so I grabbed the clip and I put it in, and it actually
genius
that thing.
Strong, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, she's genius. But anyway, then I was listening to the audio commentary of this movie, and we get almost right to the end of it, and they're talking about the character of Cheyenne. And I guess Sergio Leone said to Ennio Morricone, when you're creating your theme for Cheyenne, just think of the Tramp from Lady and the Tramp. Just make a theme song
genius.
For the Tramp.
Accidental genius, but genius nonetheless.
I'll take it. And
brilliant.
It really, I love when things kind of come together like that.
Yeah. And the harmonica as the MacGuffin, almost like as the thing you're actually following throughout the movie is incredible. Like culminating, of course, on that last shot that like so biblical and so like
with incredible. The arch and the like
arch and what's going on, like and
it's the only thing in the film. Because when you look back, it's that field, that long western view, but it's like it's so good. And
on the island of Greece, on the island of Naxos in Greece, there's this giant doorway, which was like a doorway to like this ancient temple of Apollo that was never built. Like they just built the doorway. It just sits on top of the hill. And it's just this giant arch type doorway. And it reminded me it reminded me of something like that, like something Roman that was being used. It was Roman.
It was ancient. It was and that's a torturous thing to do to a young boy. Like I mean, I've always felt bad for the horses in that situation where they hang somebody on the horse,
they walk away and then die of thirst. But
but at least to do that with your brother. And the one thing I never caught as a kid was that the brother pushes him away. I just somehow that
eventually says,
I forgot it, that
you're gonna kind of heartbreaking.
He doesn't want to let the brother take the blame for it, so he pushes him away and takes the rope.
Yeah, heartbreaking, and like made more so because of how beautifully shot it is. Like as you come away from the arch and you get that full impact of understanding what's going on, and you get the payoff with the Chekhov's harmonica and everything, which for long periods of time I thought wasn't going to pay off. I thought it was just a way for the character to emote for a long period of time.
Or the way to enter a frame,
enter a scene or whatever. Frame, like I didn't think it would pay off, but then to have it pay off to such a high degree, where the last duel ends up with the harmonica shoved in Frank's mouth. It's a fantastic film. Like
you're saying this,
would you call it
like clown, like beep beep, like it could have been just like could have been Clown Shoes, where it's just like here we're introducing this thing, but then. And you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. And we chuckled about the harmonica. But then when you actually see it as it plays out,
it actually pays off. Like in a way where you go, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
So
would you say it's a violent film?
So I always put this like I always put this on a scale of like if I was watching with a girl of like artistic tastes, would she say I don't want to watch this? And I
or a child,
yeah. I think it is violent. I mean, the PG-13 rating is probably correct, but I think like maybe not so much as violence, but the score is making you afraid. It's jarring on purpose in places, like it's meant to be a little bit like put you off a little bit, and the characters are kind of ambiguous, like it's like that's violent, you know, but actual gunfights and, you know, you don't see blood the way you did, but the death scene was like incredibly traumatic, like seeing all the shrouds and all the coffins and stuff, like
the little boy being killed on camera,
it was
pretty much
certainly
on
a
camera.
dramatic movie.
Yeah,
I don't know, violent, not compared to a Tarantino film, obviously.
John Wick or something.
Yeah, it's not
funny,
violent like that.
It's funny that we follow up There Will Be Blood with this when you ask that question, because the violence in There Will Be Blood is quick and to the point, and usually it's like the like
instantly say that film was violent if somebody asked you. You would say, yes, that's a violent movie.
The title doesn't help, but one of the things that John Wick is a great example where when it happens and it's done, and it's the speed, and the professionalness is the word I might use.
The insidiousness of the violence in this movie, like it's dramatic.
It's that tension that at any moment
and a mundane story at the end of the day, really, about like just trying to steal land.
They're complicated in the way it's presented.
Yeah,
but in the end, once you kind of realize who all the players are and what their mission was,
just different factions looking for land, and Cheyenne trying to clear his name, because he got set up. And I think he makes friends with Harmonica. I think they become genuine pals.
And I think Harmonica thought they were riding off together, and eventually he does carry his body off.
Beautiful.
Now they actually moved mountains for this movie too. That's the other kind of dumb fact. When the train, that last shot, when she goes out and finally becomes the water bearer, her destiny of bringing water to the people and the workers, and the train is coming, and the train pulls in. In order to get that train to come through that geography, they literally had to remove a sand mountain and move it. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about actually having a budget for one of these movies. The idea of moving mountains feels
incredible.
I mean, one of the wildest moments I've had in film was we had a snowstorm that came in right before we were going to do this big kind of historical outdoor exterior scene. And we hired a helicopter to buzz the set as close to the ground as it could to blow the snow away.
Wow.
And so now I always talk about like levels of money, and one level of money is snow removal helicopter money.
Like, what's a snowblower cost? Like
I was just like, couldn't we just for that money get like 7 guys and like snowblowers? Like,
it was so foggy.
5 guys from the city of High River would have come out after work with snowblowers.
Or tiger torches, but no, we got a helicopter to blow the snow away, and
that's crazy.
Those are those ridiculous kind of things.
Moving
a mountain
so
that the train comes from the right direction.
What film was it?
To make his vision, right?
Because that film was on
check the comment section.
Such a big moment that he forgets what it was.
This big moment.
Just like,
feels like The Last of Us or something.
I'm trying to decide if I want to say what movie it is. I'll say this.
Let's not. Then.
Andrew Garfield was in the movie.
That's Spider-Man.
And there was a director involved who named David Mackenzie. He wasn't directing that piece, but of Hell or High Water fame. Anyway, yes, it was yes. But I'm sure there's been big moments like that on other movies. Absolutely, this kind of use of money is.
I think 12% of the Caddyshack budget went to cocaine. So.
Cocaine for the gopher, let alone the rest of it.
I think there's been bigger wastes of budget money for sure.
Yeah.
It was a different time. It was a writer in every contract. I need a mound of cocaine.
I think I actually read they were taking the day money, and just everybody was just going out with their day money every day, and nobody was eating for like weeks at a time.
I'm picturing
there's a good scene in Futile Gesture. What's that? Stupid and Futile Gesture?
Yeah.
About the Lampoon guys, where Chevy Chase goes to get, the guy playing Chevy Chase goes to get cocaine off this pile of cocaine, and he scrapes a little off and then takes the whole pile.
Okay, and with that,
no, I'm picturing Lord of War when Jared Leto is like making like, look, it's Ukraine with it, but it's like, look, it's the script in cocaine.
All right, well, let's get to some counts here. Like our first one is the horses on film count. What do you guys think for horses on film? It's either no horses, some horses, lots of horses, all the horses. All the horses meaning you've lost count.
Dave?
I think it was lots of horses. There was not an excessive number of them, but there was definitely, a fair number of horses in there. A lot of scenes with them.
Yeah, I'm somewhere between some horses and lots of horses.
I got some. Some is where I ended up in my head.
Yeah. I think if you take away the horses pulling chuck wagons, there's actually very few horses as characters in this film, like, and even the horses that are there, it's not like other Westerns where they say, this is my horse, Bruce, he's been with me for everything. It's just, they're kind of just like, work horses.
Utilitarian.
I can get behind that.
Just, so I mean, to me, that's some of the horses, but like I say, it's, to me, the best Westerns have some horses.
I think it has to be some, because again, at the train station, the horses are the beginning of that violence.
There's not enough.
There's not enough.
It literally starts with not enough horses.
Yeah. One horse shy and two too many. Yeah. Right.
I have our new benchmark though. I watched a movie this weekend called Duel in the Sun, 1949. I've literally never seen more horses on film.
Dances with Wolves, I think, is going to have a lot of horses.
Well, maybe, but I've never seen more than this. And there's horses with names that they get to talk about a lot. I think that's our benchmark for all the horses.
Yeah, right. Some horses feels fair to me.
Yeah, some horses. We can put that in. I'm just trying to think if I had any honorable mentions. Anything else I wanted to mention? Claudia Cardinale was cast as a tax break.
I read that.
If you
she's an Italian
Italian actress, although she's Tunisian, but I think she probably had.
That's why when I read it, it said Italian national. Yeah, she's not Italian.
She's French Tunisian
of Italy.
I'm going to say this, and maybe we can get into ratings now. Is this Sergio Leone's best film? No. I guess we'll know by your ratings. Steve, do you want to start with the ratings?
I don't think so. I think Once Upon a Time in America is his best film. I mean, like all of them are difficult to get through, but that could also be because it's sort of the first Sergio Leone that I felt conscious enough to understand. I'd seen the Clint Eastwood Westerns when I was younger or whatever, but they just seemed like, and this movie changes the tone of, like, he had kind of just like funny romps, like, let me just gallivant through this story and show you the good guy beating the bad guy, and then he changes this. But I don't think it's his best movie. I think it's just, well, I'm gonna get right into ratings.
Yeah, out of 5.
I think it's a great movie, but to be number 2, I don't think it had enough entertainment. So in the grand list, to me, I would think this would end up in the top 10, possibly the top 5. But I don't think it's a number 2 movie, and I'm gonna give it like 4 out of 5. It's a watchable movie, and it's a movie that if you know people who like movies, you could tell them to watch it, and they wouldn't be disappointed in what you told them to watch.
No, yeah. It's a great recommendation.
Yeah, and it changes the game a little bit. It certainly, to Scott's point earlier, most of 70s cinema follows this exact sort of, the sets, the shots, the lenses, the colors. I mean, it's all comes from this. But to be a 5, it has to both be game changing to me, and it had to emotionally resonate with me in a way that stuck. When I first saw Unforgiven, where he decides to drink the booze and then that's it, he's that character switching now and he's going, like, that movie resonated with me. This one, I watched it, I enjoyed it, and I don't know that I'd necessarily go back again to it. So it's a 4 out of 5 for me.
Which is weird because I've seen you play the harmonica.
Yeah. Well, I play the harmonica. I could play the harmonica a little.
No,
you know what I mean?
Everyone can play the harmonica.
Well,
I
don't think I sound terrible with people, like with people accompanying music.
At the end of a party, if I want people to leave, it's
but here's the thing:
time.
nobody, even people that like music, don't want to hear you play the harmonica. Nobody wants to hear that.
The boss gets away with it, and then everyone else.
Yeah. If you can sing and play it at the same time, and you can, you got a little guitar situation, and you're good, you can get away with it. But you have to have all that together. Nobody ever says at the campfire, just play your harmonica.
Yeah, just crack out the harmonica. Yeah, it's a very interesting choice to not only have the character play the harmonica, but name him harmonica.
Name him harmonica. Possibly the most annoying of all of the instruments.
And it's such an unassuming.
The mouth harp would be the only
clown shoes.
Or in Dave's case, the kazoo. Dave, would this movie be better?
If we could have the worst band of all time, like truthfully, you and I could have the worst band of all time. We could talk offline after about getting it together.
We'll put something together. We're putting a band together. Dave, what do you think for ratings?
Originally, when I watched it, on Letterboxd, I gave it 4.5. But I think Steve's right. I think it's closer to a 4. Because it is. I agree. I wouldn't necessarily, if I had a reason to watch it again, I would watch it again. But it's not something that I'd want to go
share
back
with somebody. You could
watch it again. It is an art house film.
Yeah,
it is impactful. It is brilliantly made. I told you, Cam, before things started, it has artistic pacing.
Sure.
If in a lesser movie, it would be slow.
But the entertainment value is not great.
Yeah,
for me, like it's not like, and granted, Silverado is not a great movie, but it had a lot of entertainment in Silverado. Like,
when we covered The Professionals, we all kind of really enjoyed the opening and the pace of the opening, and the castanets were going, and we were meeting all the characters, and then it does get this slow down journey after that. And I think this one's a similar thing, where it starts out with this artistic or even deliberate pacing and the soundtrack, but it never really carries that forward. It then turns into an opera. I think of the closest thing, and which is why I attribute it to Star Wars. I think Star Wars is a space opera. This is an Old West opera. I'll do my rating, and then we'll go with Scott. I'm at 5. I'm at a 5-star on this.
Anyone who listened to this knew you're at 5.
Well, he said earlier, though, it holds emotional resonance when he was young too. Like, this movie has been around in his scope for a long time.
I like how we're talking like he's not in the room.
I know, it's okay.
No, it's okay. It's just you and I here, Scott. Dave, please join us.
So the first movie that I would call my favorite Western was The Cowboys. Okay. I watched that when I was a kid. There's kids in it. It's a John Wayne Western with kids, and that was my first favorite Western.
That's what my friend said. May John Wayne be with you when he knew I was recording tonight.
I like that.
The ghost of John Wayne. Then I saw this, and I probably saw it in grade 7. Those movies you see, those movies you see in grade 7, grade 8. Like, I was homesick, or I had a back surgery when I was in grade 8, so I watched a lot of movies when I was home, and so it was like, okay, this movie like resonates on a ethereal level with me.
Spoke to your brain in a different way than other movies at that point.
Yeah, and then also because I am a Star Wars guy, and I see the ties. Like, I see like the breakdown in Star Wars comes from this. The pulling from other films, the Japanese. There's definitely a samurai influence on this.
It's Kurosawa's influence, right? He was way into Kurosawa too, right?
Yeah, and the death, like Cheyenne's death, and how harmonica chooses not to watch, and like there's a lot of like honor moments, and there really is. I've said before, my ideal Western are those Bedecker, like, economic short run times. This is the other side of that scale, where it's a long run time. It's a big epic story about how the West died and how the industrialization came in and changed everything, and the idea of like the railroad coming, and the idea of Claudia's character, who was this, city level fancy woman in fancy clothes, shows up in the Old West and then gets domesticated right down to the gingham tablecloths. And there's a reason why my daughter's middle name is Gingham. and it really ties to a lot of this stuff from when I was a kid, and this imagery, this music, this story. So I'm at a 5.
But even before the emotional impact that you explained it had on you, I don't think anybody would crucify anybody for giving this a 5.
No.
And I think it belongs in the top 3. I don't know if it's number 1. I originally when I saw Johnny Guitar was number 1, and I thought, oh no, it should be Once Upon a Time in the West. And I went, okay, it's number 2. Okay, we're in the ballpark. I think it's definitely. Yeah. I think it's definitely top 3. I think there's a few others, some that I've kind of become obsessed with in recent years that I would push further up into that conversation. I still think the number 1 is looming. I don't think this is the number 1, even though it's maybe one of my favorites. It's in my list of top 50 movies of all time. It's one of maybe 4 or 5 Westerns that's in that list. But yeah, I can't say enough about how much I love it. Yeah. We don't have Scott's yet though, which could be the key. Which way are we going here?
Oh, I have thoughts. Okay. Okay. So since episode 1 of the podcast, one of the things that goes through my head is, does Dave think this is better or worse than Unforgiven? And so that's 2. We talked about how it is a conversation on industrial, and I'm very I don't know if you've noticed, I talk with my hands, I face as you did it. The first thing that came to mind when you said that about her is I'm an oil man, but yet this is a Western, but that one isn't, and that caught me a little bit. Doesn't change my score at all. I already know what it was. Yeah. When I went to put this on to watch it, being in my first time, I went 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, first thought.
It was like, because it's, you find it and you, whoa, okay, I didn't allocate that much time for this, but I'm in for it. I've used the word pacing a lot, and for the first time, I think the pacing works for me. And that's because anytime I felt it slow down, that soundtrack went, no, look, here we go. And
keeps you moving,
yeah, that soundtrack really, really brings us across. That being said, I'm giving it a 3. But I would give it, if it was the soundtrack alone, it's a 5. No doubt in my mind. No,
I think that was a revenge 3.
Yeah, that's really a revenge 3.
Like I can see taking a point away for story, or
I love
lose 2 points.
It's the soundtrack is the pacing is better than we've had in the past, and I think that's because the story is really good. These characters I actually really like. I love a lot about, and to finish with this weird kind of Sophie's Choice-ish kind of who's going to live. Yes, you're in the noose, but I really like that. Really, really hits.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to, and you talked about Mooney in Unforgiven, I never really felt there was that moment where I latched onto a character. I think as a whole, the film is good, but nothing outside the soundtrack really stood out to me until that final arch scene where you're like, oh, okay. But I don't feel it was enough to really, really justify. The way I look at it when it comes down to this, especially because it's my first watch, is would I watch it again? Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would. If it was on, I'd leave it, like TBS, whatever, right? TBS for the kids back home is okay.
But in the vault, but on TV.
Ted Turner, and it was a thing, and he has Buffalo and Montana now, but he's dead.
And then he Captain Planet, and then he did this, and he was like,
the Atlanta Braves are always on for some reason.
I don't see myself going the other way. Where like Unforgiven, I've watched multiple times. There Will Be Blood, I've watched multiple times. I can't see myself watching Rio Bravo again. I can't see myself the Tall T actually out of all the other ones would probably be the closest something I'd watch again. And I don't know if that's because of length or the fact that I actually found it kind of interesting. With the Tall T, you had
and you grew on it too. Like
when he walks away at the end or like he's running away but turns around. I liked that moment a lot. I actually really that no, you're not going to better me. And I never really felt I got a lot of that here for my personal, and I never really attached or got a hold of anything. Anytime, like Daniel Day-Lewis was like, I'm an oil man. I was like, I'm so in for this. Like what I will eat that all day. I never really, outside of like Woody Strode, which doesn't really last long. But like,
yeah, he really isn't in it.
Like it's such outside that, like that, if we will have films on this list that are quite short, but if you made that as a short,
it could be on the list.
I would like, this is like a 7 out of 5. Like that beginning, and again, same as The Professionals, so good. And
could you remake this movie?
I hope not.
No.
I think you could in another genre.
Maybe.
Right.
It probably has been in another genre. Please put that in the comments. Like
you could do it as like we've seen a million times. You could do it as a samurai movie, 1,000,000%.
Right, but it wouldn't be like as visually shocking as it was in 1968 now as a Western.
Right. Yeah. Or you could do it as a sci-fi, which again, I think,
but it has been remade.
Done.
Right.
This movie has been remade in pop culture
as Star Wars or whatever, but yeah, like a shot for shot remake, like could you bring this back as IP?
I really don't think, because it is it's a very singular vision of Sergio Leone and Ennio Morricone. Like, I don't think I think anybody, it would be like the Psycho remake where
he almost makes
you'd be playing.
They didn't want to do it.
You'd be cosplaying as Sergio Leone.
Yeah,
the fact that he kind of had to be convinced to even come back to this genre, and then he's like, "Well, if I have the money and I have the actor,
and I can do,
and I'm going to make this thing." But let's maybe kind of end on this. Think about everything we've said about these characters and the story and the thing, and then think about the title. That Once Upon a Time in the West, and that has come up since. There's Once Upon a Time in America, which he is the third part of this, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is sort of that idea of like taking this setting and these stories and then infusing it with this realism and grit and look, but then titling it Once Upon a Time as though this thing never really happened. This is the fairy tale. And it does remind me a bit of what we talked about in Unforgiven, where these are the stories we tell ourselves about the West. And no story in that movie, as Brandon brilliantly said, no story goes, correctly. Like nobody goes honestly to the next level of telling that story.
I love what you're doing here, Cameron. Still 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Oh, no.
The average is not at 4. Between us, we average at 4, and that's fair. Like 4 is a fair score to me.
Yeah.
No. I'm just like
3 out of 5.
I was shocked with
it's
the
a good movie.
Like I will say, I was taken aback, but yes.
Yeah. No, you should. If you watch the other ones every time, like I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
No, and now everyone else can have that moment. Like, see, it doesn't feel good, does it? No.
Yeah, I gave There Will Be Blood, I think 2 stars, but
there it is. See.
But as a Western.
Now, for those listening at home, if you need to figure out who the bad guy is, it's Cameron.
For Dave. But
and for those
it's me. I'm the bad guy.
Disney used to do, like Grimm would do before him. It's like for those listening at home, fairy tales were.
Yeah. Like there's this idea of these fairy tales, and fairy tales were. I mean, I didn't really research the history of fairy tales, but what I understand of them is they were the stories that people in the village told children so that children would not wander off into the woods.
The PSAs of their times.
Right.
does what it says on the tin. Then, if that's what you want, this movie does that.
Yeah. Don't wander off to the west.
Yeah,
don't romanticize it more than Cameron already romanticized.
No, that's not what the PSA is. Don't play the harmonica.
Don't play the harmonica.
Learn electric guitar, because when that electric guitar comes in, it kicks ass.
Right.
And
that
guy got laid
on a list.
I'm
you
just
know, guitars
picturing,
are,
like,
are uber harmonicas.
Someone with the telegram being like, "Hey, remember that sound you're looking for? Here it is."
Yeah, I don't think Jill was telegraphing home, Mom, Dad, I met someone. He plays the harmonica.
Yeah. You should send Cousin Sally. You should.
Yeah.
No, it was certainly a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
I'd be frightened of the big bad West.
To answer your question, I truly hope this is not his best film. And I mean that for me, I haven't watched. Actually, I haven't watched Once Upon a Time in America either, though. So I do that subject matter.
We almost put it on the other night, last night. I was like, "Oh, let's watch this as prep," and it was 3 hours and 40 minutes. I think it's on Disney Plus.
That's because you're watching the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was black and white. It was. It was
Zack Snyder. Yeah.
No, it's not black and white. I do want to watch it. I am interested in it. I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
Well,
one time I watched a big chunk of it on TV, and I thought it was The Godfather, and then I went, "This isn't The Godfather. What am I watching?" So it has that real.
I think it's interesting because, like,
I mean, it is a beautiful film.
And I feel like Sergio Leone confused with Sergio Aragonés, writer of the Gru comic.
I have done that. I literally have done that in the last 72 hours.
Is referencing Gru like chug your drink kind of thing? When was the last time anyone referenced Gru? Who references Gru?
I do.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm on board. God. But no, I find so if Once Upon a Time in America feels like more like an homage to like Godfather, because I think Godfather did it really well. This might be the like I said, line in the sand Western film that for the longest time, the Godfather of its time.
Couldn't top this probably for a long time.
Yeah. I still give it 3 out of 5. But I wouldn't give that to the Godfather.
Again, it's still a good rating. It's still a good rating. And I think it will stay on the list. I think it will 100%. Stay in that top 10. I think if for some reason other things around this movie were added to the list, the spiritual sequel Duck You Sucker, I don't think is good enough to be considered in the top 100. There's a film that shot here in Calgary a few years ago, stars Peter Dinklage and Juliette Lewis. It's called The Thicket.
Oh yeah,
and I haven't watched it. Just released, didn't it? Like, because it was
I'd say 2024. Obviously it's I wasn't actually going to bring it up in this episode because it's a winter Western, and we do have some winter Westerns coming up. I was going to save it for that, but it was written to shoot in the Spanish desert. It's only because of independent film production issues that it ended up shooting in Calgary for cheaper. And then it got pushed and ended up shooting in the winter, which changed the look of it completely. Now it works so well as a winter Western. Dinklage is great. I think Juliette Lewis, it could be the scariest bad guy in all of, outside of maybe Bone Tomahawk. I highly recommend The Thicket. Very good director and a brilliant movie. I really do love it.
Is Old Henry on the list, Cam?
It's not on the list, but it's one that I will mention coming up.
It's one I would push up then, yeah.
Well, I think there's a movie coming up called The Ballad of Cable Hogue, and I'd say Old Henry could swap in that one.
Again, I look forward to like an episode where we already talked about Hell or High Water, but like we're especially more because this list was written in 2024, so you probably near the beginning of the year, so things like Thicket you just mentioned aren't on this.
I
would love to look at and give each one like 10 minutes. Does this deserve maybe kind of thing? And we kind of do that at the end of each episode anyway, but I'd love to just try to figure that out.
Dig in a little and actually like sit and watch them or watch them together or something and really kind of get a sense for some of these other ones that weren't considered. Another one I've mentioned a couple times, Django Unchained obviously has that
Not on the
spaghetti. It has that spaghetti western.
Quentin,
not on the list.
Quentin Tarantino mentions this soundtrack every time he talked about the Hateful Eight and Django Unchained. Like the soundtrack, to answer that question is yes, the soundtrack is bigger than this film. That was my question. It is 100% bigger than this film.
Now, I would say the best soundtrack moments in Django Unchained are the songs they took from other spaghetti westerns. So maybe that's a weird caveat in that sense, but it's definitely one that is worth mentioning again and again. That and Hateful Eight, because A, I'm shocked that it's not on the list, and B, I mean, I'm shocked that it's not on the list so that I can remove it and replace it with a Bud Bedecker movie. But still, I'm surprised because it is so kind of popular. That's not in there. But yeah, I'm last note for The Thicket. I think that is a worthwhile watch. It's free on Tubi, and it was shot right here in Calgary. So let's. What do you think, Dave? Let's just talk about next episode too. Next episode, you thought this runtime was long. We're going to number 78 on the list. 1990s epic, Dances with Wolves. Written and directed by Kevin Costner, or starring Kevin Costner, directed by Kevin Costner. Also starring Mary McDonnell and Graham Greene. 181 minutes in some sense. There's other versions. I'm not sure.
My brain keeps remembering this is 4 hours, not 3.
It feels.
Wow, that's the difference.
I thought it was on 4 hours. I thought it was.
No, it's long.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because he's trying to one up it with like the Horizon stuff. I was like, stop it. I believe that Costner guy gets his start here and should do a movie about like the world being covered in water.
From
I think
here,
he'd be really good at that.
from Dancing with the Wolves.
Yeah,
it's
actually swimming with wolves,
or maybe something about like the mail service or something.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Or why not sink all of your money into another Western saga?
Yeah, which will never finish.
Which will never finish.
It will never. The second one is shot, and they're just like, how much money do we want to lose more?
No.
Like, it's just like, I can't. It should have been just an 8-hour television.
Meanwhile, he's still cashing that bodyguard money. I don't feel bad for Costner. He's still cashing.
He's doing
that.
okay.
He will always love those checks.
He did a nice neo-western up here too in Calgary called "Let 'Em Go." A lot of my friends worked on it, and it is sort of a nice movie. It's modern day.
What's he like, Cam? What's he like, Costner?
I've never met him. My sister has met him, but I don't know if I've never met
anyone really has met him.
Yeah, I think he's a prick. Anyways,
I don't know.
Comments.
I go back and forth because sometimes he'll get in an interview and
no knowledge.
Yeah, sometimes he'll talk about like how much he loves shooting in Calgary and how much he loves our crews, and then a month later you'll see an article about like Yellowstone shooting in Montana and how you got to tell American stories in America, and you got to like he kind of goes back and forth, and it's like
instantly called us Budget America. That's not great.
Yeah. So anyway, but he does appear on this list a few times. We got Open Range, which was shot here, and Dances with Wolves is going to be a big one. That's going to be a big watch. So, Dave, what's going on in your world? Where can we find you other than here?
You can find me all over the YouTubes. Sundays, you can find me most Sundays on Spill the Geek Tea. Tuesdays on Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. That's traveling with one L because it's my showrunner is American. The first Thursday of every month, along with Scott and Cameron on Happiness Patrol. That's youtube.com/@happinesspatrolshow. And when I'm not doing one of those, you can occasionally find me on my own channel, youtube.com/therathole, DOTCA. That's therathole.ca, but YouTube does not like URLs in their URLs.
Right on. And Scott, how about you? Where can we find you in the world?
Breakfast Scotch National. Continuing to do what I do there. Pawn and Pixel should be doing its thing by the time this goes up. I want to comment. You know what? I'm going to say something positive about Kevin Costner, which was he's an American, at least knows that Canada is north, which is nice. Also, recently, book helped. I had a little bit of, but saying that one. We're not going to say what it is. We'll see what that looks like. Available. But like, yeah, that's it. I'm with everyone else on the other ones, enjoying this journey. So to offset the prick comment, at least Kevin Costner knows where Canada is.
I don't know Kevin Costner, and I've not heard any anecdotes. This is all pure speculation on
don't get me wrong. I think you're probably right. But like, it's just,
well, it's tough. Actors are a tough breed, and then usually when he's up here, he's either directing or he's producing or he's very involved. So I imagine you'd probably have to be pretty tight in his inner circle to get to know someone like that. I think Clint Eastwood would be a similar type of persona on set. But how about you, Steve? I know you don't really have you're too mysterious to have an internet persona.
I don't have any sort of internet persona other than, a personal Instagram, but I am working on a writing project now, which has accidentally turned into a travel grief book ever since my little brother passed away in 2003. Everywhere I've traveled, I've been writing him letters, and these letters will explain, what's going on in the place I'm at, what the feelings of the family was like, what I'm going through. It's accidentally turned into a really very difficult to edit, but very commercially viable work of catharsis that I'll be looking to put out at some point.
That's amazing. I love that. That's very, very cool. And I love that it's not only is it a personal journey, but it's taking you around the world a little bit too.
And that's where I think, the hook comes. Like, everybody goes through grief. Nobody wants to read about it. It's pretty hard to go through. But if you add travel to it and you say Greece is lovely, also I'm totally destroyed, missing you. But it changes the tone of it.
I think,
but you can actually watch the stages of it get better when I'm in different places too.
I'm in Athens. I think you would have really liked this kind of thing.
Yeah. But more than that, I'll start explaining the history of the things I've seen, and it opens. I'm in Bally's. I'm in a hotel room in Bally's, Las Vegas, and I'm explaining to him that where I am, there was this fire and it killed 32 people, and like it's really crazy and death and da da da. But it ends like it goes right up to when I was in Alaska for this course for work a few weeks ago. I'm writing from Fairbanks, Alaska, and you can really see the 20 years has changed and just how much has changed, and all of the different places I got to see, almost, you don't want to say as a result, but it creates this project that would never have happened without it. And I get to go see all these places with his spirit. It's really, it was a personal work, but the more I think about it, the more I read it, the more I've shown it to other people. I think a lot of people would get a lot out of it.
I love, because every culture kind of deals with grief in different ways too.
And I'm dealing with it everywhere I go, so I'm talking about it with everybody I go to.
What do you think the ETA on that?
Well, I've started to collate it now. I've started to collate it now. I didn't have anything, so I've been keeping notebooks since I was 12 years old. So I just started going through old notebooks, and then I came across this letter, and I've been culminating it the whole time. And now I'm just finally putting it all together in one piece. It's the sort of thing I almost have to give somebody else to edit, though. Tell me where the transitions are, tell me what I'm missing, because it's incredibly hard to reread all of those stages of grief that you went through. But, I'm glad I have it documented, because this could turn into something that other people might get something from. But I would say that within a year, I would have something together, and I would like to be able to put it out somehow.
It's a universal experience, so I think it's going to have universal appeal. So that's beautiful.
Thanks for talking about it. Thanks for talking about it, guys. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for coming. I'm really glad you could come. I feel like we're going to have you back. I guarantee. We have so many movies on this, and ones that I would love to see your insights into. So
great. I think you get a jacket after 5 appearances or something, right?
You do. You get a jacket.
The 5 Timers Club.
Yeah. You get a hat, but you have to choose between a white or a black hat. It's a whole thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have to do an episode on villainy. Your personal.
I'll get your. Don't worry, I'll get your black hat.
You guys sit as a panel across from me and explain your villainy.
Yeah. I'm a little sad we're not going to have you on the Dances with Wolves now that I've heard your thoughts. So
my anti Kevin Costner.
I love the Wolf. The Wolf was great. Graham Greene's always good.
I think I read somewhere in acting class or something. Take a strong position.
No, that's perfect. All right. I want to thank everyone for being here. Dave and Scott, always thank you guys for going on this journey with me. Thank you, Steven or Steve. This was great. This was Exactly what I was hoping for, having you on with this particular movie. It's perfect.
Fantastic.
And I want to thank Brett Alec Bailey, who did our theme song. You can find me out in this world. I'm on Horses on Film. We're starting to spread out. We're on Letterboxd. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We have horsesonfilm.com. We have an email. We are on Instagram, Horses on Film Podcast on Instagram. I'll be posting our little intro videos there if you're just listening to this. There's youtube.com at Horses on Film is where our kind of main thing is. And then if you have any questions, concerns, you want to tell us about your favorite Western, or what do you think of Kevin Costner? Did you ever run into him? Does he tip? These kinds of things.
I'd love to know if Kevin Costner tips.
It's horsesonfilm@gmail.com. Send us those thoughts.
Someone who runs into you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's his story? I guess, I mean, he got divorced recently, so
absolutely. Drop me a DM at Big Like Bogues on Instagram. Let me know. If you know Costner, send me a note on it.
Let's see. Well, who is he? What's his deal? And we'll find out next week when we cover Dances with Wolves 1990. Until next time, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm Cameron. Thank you guys so much, and we'll all live happily ever after.
Aww.